is only 1,100 and 41 NACCAS accredited schools. So let's get off into the ISS. Now, you'll be able to download the ISS from the NACCAS website, which is this. There are going to be 10 standards. When you go to the workshop, they're going to tell you to look at the handbook. This handbook is probably 200 pages long, 178 pages. They're going to want you to read this handbook. It's going to be like a foreign language to you, but I'm going to make this real simple to give you all a complete understanding. Now, on these standards, there are 10 standards, okay? 10 standards. Let's click on standard 1. I'm going to make this a little larger. Okay, so standard 1. So what we have to do, each one of these questions, we have to answer that question if it pertains to your school. If it does not, I'll give you an example. Some schools don't do distance education. So when we get to that standard, we will put NA. You have yes, no, and NA. If you answer yes, you have to answer that question. It may be with an exhibit. They may say, well, do you do grades? Yes, we do satisfactory academic progress reports. So you're going to have to show an example of that. And you have to put electronic bookmarks. So when NACCAS clicks on that exhibit, it's going to take them directly to that. And I'm going to show you all how that works. So this is standard 1, and there are 10 standards. Okay, and I'm going to go through these standards with you. Let's go to the next standard, standard 2. And you see the heading, it talks about instructional staff. So in this standard, you're going to have to show instructor license. There are quite a few things. They're going to want to know your teacher to student ratio. If you have substitute instructors, they want to see their license. So everything that you tell them, you must show documentation. NACCAS wants to see everything documented. And remember, there are 10 standards. Third standard. Now, on this third standard, administrative services. Now, on this standard right here, I'll give you an example. Number 7. That's going to be NA, and I'm going to show you a real institutional self-study, which is something that probably no school owner or nobody's going to show you that. Advertising. On your advertising, it's very important on all of your advertising. Make sure that you have all work by supervised students. On your postcard, business card, any advertisement, it must say all work by supervised students. That is a NACCAS requirement. Also, when NACCAS comes to inspect your school, you want to have a sign on the clinic floor when you walk in, all services by supervised students. So there are 10 standards, but what we're going to do, I'm going to take y'all behind the scenes, and y'all can look over my shoulder, and I'm going to show you a completed institutional self-study, okay? So let's go look at that, because that's what y'all came for, to understand the institutional self-study, and you want to see one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to stop sharing, and now I'm going to share again, and I'm going to make this screen large so you all can see this. Okay. Now, some pages I won't be able to show you, like a completed enrollment agreement. I'll be able to show you a blank enrollment agreement that's not filled out, but I will not show you a completed one because that has students' private information like date of birth, social, things of that nature. So I won't be able to show you a completed enrollment agreement, but you'll be able to see a blank one. So now, the first page is your cover page. And when you apply with NACCAS, once you get approved for candidate status, they're going to give you a reference number. The reference number is right here, okay? Now, the reference number is your school's social security number. Anytime you submit documents to NACCAS, you always must put your reference number on there so they will know what school it came from. Now, you're going to have to put the school name, address. Your school name and address must be the exact name and address that's on your school license. A lot of school owners mess up on that. I repeat, your school name, address, it should be the exact one that's on your license. Very simple, but a lot of school owners don't do that. Now, we must have electronic bookmarks. What I mean by that, standard one, if you're looking at the screen, which is probably to your right, my left, if I click on standard one, it's going to take me to standard one. Okay, the ladies hyperlinked that. They bookmarked it. I just clicked on that. I'm going to click on cover page at the top. Look at the top corner where you see cover page. When I click that, it should take you right to the cover page. That's what I mean by bookmarks. Now, you must have Adobe Acrobat. A lot of y'all are not techie or whatever. A lot of school owners we deal with are not techie at all. But the team will do all of this for you. So we're going to click standard one. If you don't have these bookmarks set up correctly, NACCAS is going to kick out your institutional self-study. So let me make this a little bigger so you all can really see this. All right, now, this is 2023. Another thing, every year NACCAS will change the ISS. They will change questions around, wording around, and a lot of schools make the mistake because they have a 2022 ISS. They will try to change the date at the top, this January 2023, not realizing that NACCAS has changed some of these questions and shuffled them around. So a lot of schools got their ISSs kicked out and they had to come to us to correct them. All right, so now, standard one, everything that you see in bold is what you have to answer as the school owner or director. Everything that's in bold. If it's not in bold, that's what NACCAS is asking us, okay? So example, this bold right here, that is the title, okay? Now, the institution has a published mission statement, identifying institutions, providing career preparation. So basically it's asking you, do you have a mission statement? Is it in compliance with NACCAS? So what we have to do is highlight that, underline it, and bold it, okay? Yes. Now, NACCAS asks, where's the mission statement located? Okay, state the mission statement below. Well, exhibit 1.1. If we go over here and click exhibit 1.1, there's the school's mission statement. All right, let's go back to the standard. Now, number two, they want to know where the mission statement is located. Okay, the mission statement is located on page 3 of the catalog. Going on down. These are yes and no and NA questions. Your annual report. The annual report is your completion rate, licensure rate, and placement rate. Okay? And we have a whole training on how to do an annual report. So I'm not going to go over that in this training. This is just for the ISS. Now, number 6 is asking for an external advisory committee. If you have a barber, Cosmo, nails, aesthetics program, you're going to need a barber, stylist, nail tech, and esthetician that works in the field, that works at a shop, a salon, or spa. They can't work at your school. It can't be any of your employees that work at the school. So we had yes. Now, on 6A, if utilizing any distance education, well, this school doesn't do distance education. So we put NA. Now, going on down here, for NACCAS, they will ask you questions. And when you answer yes, they're basically setting you up. Now you have to provide it. Notice how they asked about the advisory committee in 6. Notice down here, provide the following information for each advisory committee member. They want to know their name, the business that they work at, the phone number, and address. Okay. Now, we said exhibit 1.6. When we click exhibit 1.6, what's going to happen? Advisory committee. Look at it. The name, the shop they work at, the phone number, their position. This school only has a barber program. So notice they only have licensed barbers. Okay. That's how you do that. Going on down. They want to know about the curriculum, your facilities, equipment, graduation. Yes, you keep up with all of that. Okay, now provide copies of minutes. Most schools don't even do minutes, where you have to have a meeting, at least one meeting every year. Now, when you answer this question, there's a question down below where NACCAS is asking, how often do you have meetings? The minimum is one per year. If you answer that question and say, oh, we have a meeting every month, if NACCAS comes out to your school and inspects and they ask you for your meeting minutes and it's been a year, you better have 12 meeting minutes. If you have 10, they're going to write you up. So always say we have one meeting a year. So all you got to do is have one meeting minutes in the folder. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, or 100, it doesn't matter. All you got to have is that one. So now, a lot of people don't know how the meeting minutes are set up. Okay, and I'm going to show you how these meeting minutes are set up. Click on it. This advisory, okay, exhibit 1.7, we click that. Now, NACCAS wants a format. This is the format. This is the exact format. And it talks about who was at the meeting, the topics considered, suggestions, comments. We went over the curriculum. We talked about the facility, other topics of interest. Okay, that's the meeting minutes. Go on down. Let's keep going. Number 8, explain how we solicit feedback. All right. Now, we pass out surveys. Okay, they want to see them. Let's go to exhibit 1.8, current student surveys. And we have copies of the current student surveys. And what you're going to do, you're going to go in your classroom maybe every 4 or 5 months or whatever. And you're going to do these current surveys. Students are going to fill about, you're going to put them in a folder. 2023 current student surveys. Now, so when we click on that, guess what? We have the current student surveys. We provide you with these surveys. All right. Now, going back to the standards, if we go down here, the next question that they're asking about, explain below the institution's procedure for soliciting feedback from graduate based on its mission. Now, NACCAS uses all these big words. What that means is, how do you get feedback from your graduates? That's basically what they're asking. We have graduates fill out a survey, or we conduct a phone survey to the graduates and we solicit feedback. So we just answered that question. And we do it at least annually, at least once a year. Okay, NACCAS wants to see that. 1.9, we click that, guess what? Here's a graduate survey. We provide you with those, fill them out, boom, have the student assign them. When the student gets ready to graduate, on their graduation date, while they're in your office, that's when they should fill this out. That way you don't have to track them down. Let's go back. We're still on standard 1. Now, let's go here. Okay. Number 10, explain how we solicit feedback from instructors. We answer the question, exhibit 1.10. When we click on that, guess what? Here's an instructor survey. Tell, show, and do. All right. Have your instructors to fill out this survey. You're fine. Now, that's standard 1. We got 10. Standard 2, instructional staff. Basically, this first question, they're asking, who is the instructor? What date did they get hired? What programs do they teach? Do they teach distance education? It's that simple right here. We put who the instructor is, when they were hired, programs they teach. They don't do distance education. Now, insert copies of license of all regular employed instructors. Basically, that's asking you, give us the license of your instructors. You said here the instructors, okay, let's see their license. Exhibit 2.1. When we click Exhibit 2.1, we're going to see the instructor's license. Watch. Instructor's license. That's simple, okay? Now, make sure that the licenses are not expired. That happens a lot. Okay. Number two, do you have substitute instructors that teach distance education? They don't do distance education. This school doesn't. So that's NA. Go down here. They're just asking for your teacher to student ratio. Every state is different. Some states 15 to 1, 20 to 1, 25 to 1, 30 to 1. Your rules and regulations will tell you that. Now, the next question on number 4 is just asking for your substitute instructor's license. Okay. And how do they know what the school is doing? All substitute instructors must complete an orientation where we cover our curriculum, policies, and procedures. That question is answered. Okay, insert below your policy and procedure for using substitute instructors. Exhibit 2.5. When we click that, guess what? We have that right there, the policy. Going down. Okay. Insert your policy and procedure regarding staff meeting below and submit as an exhibit. Now, I just told y'all about those staff meetings earlier. The staff meetings. You must have a staff meeting minimum 1 per year. Staff meetings are annually. Okay? Now look at this. Meetings conducted throughout the last 12 months. You got to have at least one. Don't answer this question saying you have one every month. If you do, you better have at least 12 of these meetings typed up with the minutes with NACCAS comes 12 months later. Okay? It's best to say annually. 2.7, I don't know how to write the minutes. Okay, look, we have an example. It's laid out. This is laid out. The German, all that, that's laid out. It's already laid out for you. Now, we'll go down. Okay, insert copies of continuing education. You must have at least 12 continuing education hours as an instructor every 12 months. That's a NACCAS requirement. Now, they want to see their certificate, Exhibit 210. Okay, let's go to Exhibit 210. We made the bookmark. There it is. All right, let's go back. Going on down. Okay, they want the continuing education written plan. Even if you don't know what the written plan is, guess what? We already got it for you. Within the calendar year of employment, all instructors are required by the school to complete a minimum of 12 hours per year. All right, that's number 2. Let's go on down. And after each standard, you have to put the exhibits. So NACCAS will know that. Moving on to standard 3, we got 10 standards. Standard 3, administrative services. Number 1 is basically asking, the institution has its administrative policies and services appropriate. Basically what this is asking for is the school license. That's what they're asking for right here. Exhibit 3.1, look at this. Exhibit 3.1, school license. That's what they're asking for. A lot of people, when they read these questions, the way NACCAS has them worded, using all these big words, most people don't even understand what they're asking. But we break it down. That's all that was asking right there. Describe below the license where they're displayed and provide a copy of the state board rules and regulations telling you where license should be displayed. Okay, it's displayed on the wall publicly. 3.2 is the rules and regulations for their state board. So you'll get your state board rules and regulations where it's talking about the licensing for the school. Go back. Okay. Describe below the institution ensures that it remains in compliance with all local and federal. I'm not going to read all this because this would take us hours, but we answered the question right here. Okay. Describe below how the institution adopts, implements, and maintains written policies. We put the answer right here. I really want to show you all the exhibits. Now, the institution has a current signed participation agreement. No, NA. When you become accredited and then when you get approved by the U.S. Department of Education, that's when you will get a program participation agreement. The U.S. Department of Education will give you that when you get approved for your financial aid. So that doesn't pertain to you right now. Okay, advertisement. Advertising conforms to the NACCAS policies on advertising. If you read that, it'll tell you, you got to have that sign, all services performed by supervised students, all work by supervised students. Now, if we look at this, 3.8, they want to see examples. 3.8, let's click on it. Look, most people would not have this. Look at this right here. All work done by supervised students. A lot of people wouldn't have that. It's a write-up. We'll keep going. Let's see. We'll go down. It's 3.8. Okay. List number 9. Institution maintains copies of any training agreements. Just say you have an agreement with vocational rehabilitation, or you have a training agreement with some high school where you get the students, then you would put yes, and you would have to submit a copy of that training agreement. We'd have to put that in as an exhibit. Okay, list below the page where the policies can be found on the release, releasing your information to the public or anybody. That policy can be found on page 5 of the catalog. Okay, they want to see a blank form too that a student would have to fill out or someone. So see exhibit 2-311 right here. That's a release form. Okay, going on down. Okay. Another thing right here. Describe below, we're on 13. The institution maintains accreditation records for a period. It must meet the requirement. The answer to that, you must maintain accreditation records for a minimum of 6 years in the director's office. All documents and correspondence with NACCAS are maintained in the files and or notebooks. So that's how we answer that question. Okay. 6 years. Go on down. They want to know the programs, how many hours, and what language they're taught in. Remember, we had to have the exhibits, all that we have in there. Going on to standard 4. Standard 4, admissions policies and procedures. Number 1 is basically asking you about the admissions policy. Okay, it's on page 5 of the catalog, and we have an example. Exhibit 4.1. Click that. This is the admissions policy. Going back, moving on down. Okay, a limited number of secondary students who are not enrolled under a training agreement as described with no more than 10% of the number of students. That doesn't pertain to the school. They don't have any secondary students. Okay. The institution's written catalog. Now, NACCAS has checklists. They have about 6 checklists. This is one of them. And I'm going to show you this. Your catalog has to be in compliance with NACCAS. NACCAS has a checklist. And let me show you this checklist. This is the checklist from NACCAS. Everything on here must be in your catalog. And you got to tell NACCAS where it's located in your catalog. I'll give you one example. The catalog must be written in a language in which the course and programs will be taught. So basically it's asking you, what language is the catalog wrote in? And you have to tell where it's wrote in and show NACCAS. So this number 2 is basically saying it's on page 2 in the catalog. Now let's go to page 2 of the catalog. We had to insert the school catalog. Let's go to page 2. This is page 1. We see that. Now it's page 2. Where's the English? You see how we had to put a number 1 there? Written in English. I'll do one more for you so y'all can understand this. Okay. Name and address of institution of the location. It says it's on page 1. We need to go to page 1, and we better see a number 2 there. Let's go to page 1. Okay, this is page 1. You see the number 2. Okay, now you see 22 right here. That's on page 1. Let's go there and let's look at 22. 22, the name and address of the state licensing agency. You see how we had to put 22 on page 1? Now you're understanding that. I'm not going to go through all of this. It'll take a long time, but this is one of the checklists a lot of school owners get messed up on. Going back, most people can't do that checklist. That's quite a bit of work. Let's see. Okay. IV6. When a student enrolls in your school, NACCAS wants to make sure that you explain the catalog, the graduation rates, about releasing information, everything that you know. Basically, you're reading everything from that catalog, because students will tell the state board or the government or the accredited commission, well, the school didn't tell me this. I didn't know that. I didn't know it cost this much. Students will say all kinds of stuff. You must do the orientation before they sit in the class. And you got to have documentation. This is going to document that right here. Pre-enrollment receipt. Make sure it's dated before they start school. This is saying they received a catalog. You told them about the graduation rate, licensure, placement. You told them about the state required information, the employment. You told them about the satisfactory academic progress policy, because students will tell NACCAS or somebody, or they try to take you to court, well, the school didn't tell me all this. Make sure they fill all this out. This is going to protect you, letting them know, well, this school owner, they told you everything. You basically signed your life away. Just like when you go to the doctor, before you go in that back room, you sign your life away. I know we're just checking boxes and checking and signing. So if anything happens, they're basically not liable. So that's basically what they're asking on those. And that's exhibit 4, 5, and 6, which is 4, 5, and 6. Before enrollment, each applicant is provided and acknowledges a written receipt of written information that accurately reflects, okay? Going down here, describe how applicants have access to written information. So when they sign that and date it, that's protecting you. Also, we're going to get to the enrollment agreement. Another one where they're going to sign their life away. Make sure you have these students to sign this, because you're going to have to take one of them to court sooner or later. Over my 20 years of when I had schools, I went to court maybe 2 or 3 times. But state board always called. Sometimes NACCAS wanted documents, because students will lie and try to get you in trouble. Other school owners will call the board. Other students in shops. When you become a school owner, you're a target. People are trying to pull you down. So document, cross all of your T's, dot all your I's. We'll keep going. Okay, the enrollment agreement. Here's another checklist. Exhibit 4.8. Let's go here. 4.8. This is another NACCAS checklist. Identified as a contract or enrollment agreement, number 1. So number 1 should be showing that it's an enrollment agreement or contract. Look, number 1 is right here. That's number 1. Now, this enrollment agreement is NACCAS compliant. Now, some people have a different enrollment agreement for state board. So we have to do that. And then once we get NACCAS, we have to add that. All right, so this is a complete enrollment agreement with NACCAS. All of the wording, you see all of the numbers. All of these numbers go with the NACCAS checklist. We understand the checklist now. So this is very tedious to put that number there, then go through the catalog and all of that. Now, the next block is a completed enrollment agreement. Now, I'm not going to click on that because it has students' driver's license number, social, date of birth, and all of that stuff. But this is common sense. You can see that. If you don't have a transfer student, you'd put NA. NA. Do not leave anything blank on your enrollment agreement. A lot of schools get wrote up for that. Oh, well, that doesn't pertain to me, so I'm just going to leave it blank. No, do not leave anything blank. Put a line or NA, guardian or sponsor, if applicable. Most students are 18 over, so they're not going to have their mom or daddy, somebody signing that. Draw a line here or put NA. Very important. We're going to skip over the completed documents. Now, going on down. Show y'all some more exhibits. We went over those checklists. We're not going to look at completed enrollment agreements. The transfer policy, that's in your catalog, and we have to say where it's at in the catalog, and also the exhibit 4.15. Here we go. Look, there's a transfer policy. All right, now more documents. Exhibit 4.19. So you can go up here and you can read number 19. Okay, before enrollment, each applicant is provided an acknowledgement receipt of written information that generally reflects. Okay, so basically, before a student enrolls, they need to know about licensure, placement, rules and regulations. Look at this, physical requirements. So a student can't say, well, I didn't know my neck was going to get messed up. I'm trying to sue the school. I didn't know my back was going to get messed up from standing. No, they've already signed this document. Exhibit 4.19. There it is right there. They already signed and dated it before they started. Okay. Now, here's the other document. Look, they signing their life away. But they check all of these. They don't sign their life away. They can't tell the state board, well, they didn't tell me this. Well, Elizabeth didn't tell me this, or Gregory didn't tell me this, or Raquel or Anthony didn't tell me this, or Jolene or Jackson or Karen, I didn't know this. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But make sure you as a school owner have this. Documentation beats conversation. Let's go on to standard 5. Standard 5, student support services. Now, basically, what this is asking for, when is orientation? Orientation is required of all students, and it occurs prior to the first class, before the first class. So we let NACCAS know we giving the student all this before they even start class. After orientation, we telling them what's done. Okay. Well, what document are they getting? Okay, V2, which is 5.2. Click here. These are the documents we just showed you. Now, go on down. This is dealing with curriculum. Program outline curriculum, 5.5. If we click on that, look, your school outline, the curriculum that's in your catalog. That's all it is. Exhibit 7, the grievance policy. You got to have a grievance policy, and this is the procedure. So we'll go on down. That's a short one, 5. And of course, we got the exhibits. Now, we did not have any students to submit grievances within the last year. So you just have the grievance policy. But you let NACCAS know, because if you told them you did have some grievances, then they want to see a copy of it. All right, so let's go down. Number 6, curriculum. This standard, you have to put the classes that you teach, the programs right here. They want to know what programs you teach, how many hours and all of that. Okay. Down here, they want to know what are you using, textbooks and materials. Most people are going to use My Ladies. We're just answering these questions. Down here, this question, they want to know the state board requirements for the curriculum. So basically on 6.5, look, this is what we put the rules and regulations from the state board on the curriculum. That's right there. All right, then the outline. Before they get on the clinic floor, what are they learning? They want to know that, the practical. So this is what they're learning. Those are the hours. Now, 6.11, let's go on down. They want to see an example of a lesson plan right here, okay? And they want to show the course objectives, an example of a lesson objectives, an example of written evaluation, example of practical evaluation. Okay, If you got a barber, Cosmo, nail, you got to have 3 different lesson plans, examples of barber, Cosmo, nails, aesthetics, or whatever. All right, so when we click here, look, the lesson plan. My latest lesson plan. I can scroll all the way through that. Now we're going on number 7, financials. Now, I've given you all Nathan's number. He used to work for the U.S. Department of Education for 10 years, and he retired. He does the financials, the audits. He's very good. If y'all want me to give y'all his number, y'all can say yes or whatever, and I'll put it in the chat. If not, I'll just keep going. So let me, okay, they say yes. So let me give y'all Nathan. 214-263-7705. All right, I just gave y'all his information, so we'll keep going. All right. You're not participating in the financial aid. We don't have financial aid right now, so this is going to be NA. All right. We go on down. Explain the refund policy. We use NACCAS refund policy. Also, the school does not participate in federal financial aid programs because we're not accredited. All right. Now, exhibit 7.3. This is another checklist. So your refund policy in your catalog must have all of these statements. And you know about the numbers. I've already shown you all that in previous checklists. So you got to have one for the withdrawal. They want to see, now if a student quits, withdrawals or whatever, you must do a refund calculation on every student that quits, withdrawals. It's mandatory. It does not matter if the student owes you money or if they don't owe you money, or if you owe them money or don't owe them money. If you owe them money, write them a check, make a copy of that check, and there's a document that they can sign saying that they received that, and then staple it together, put it in the folder. When we get deeper into some of these trainings, we'll talk about financial aid. Every time a student got a refund check, I made a copy of the check, had my financial aid director make a copy of the check. The student signed, I, Elizabeth, or I, Rock, Joxy, or Lacey, Michelle, Coco, Renee, Shannon, Victoria, Zandra, Zakia, I received $5,000 from such and such school on such and such date. And they sign it, they date it. And you make a copy of the check, staple it, put it in a folder. Because some students will say, well, they stealing my money. Well, I didn't get my refund check. Over the 20 years, I heard that so many times, I did not get no refund check. Documentation beats conversation. They will call the U.S. Department of Education, okay? They came to my school numerous of times. There's no need for you all to be stealing students' money. You're getting 20, 25,000 students. You don't need to steal any money and risk going to jail. No, get your tuition. If a student's doing a refund, pay them. If they withdraw, you do the refund calculation. If money's due back to the government, you send it back. You don't have to send all of it back. It's set up for the school owners to get rich. The government set it up. They wrote the laws and rules for school owners to get rich off of students. So we'll keep going. Now, let me show you an example refund. This is an example refund. I can show you this because it doesn't have any driver's license numbers or social security, any of that. And I have a whole class where I'm breaking all of this down. That would take us hours. Exhibit 7.9. They want a resume of the school owner. That's it. Now we're going to exhibit the standard number 8. Standard 8. Let's look at that. Institutional space and facility. Now we're talking about the equipment, the facility, the building. They want to know you got a classroom, running water, hot water, cold water. That's what we're talking about here. This is a pretty easy one. If you don't have a water fountain, at least have a water container where they can get water. A fire extinguisher. If your fire extinguisher is expired and NACCAS comes, call somebody and tell them to go down the street and get you a fire extinguisher before NACCAS leaves your campus and they can't write you up. NACCAS not going to tell you that. I'm telling you that. We've had people in the program, and we're on standby when NACCAS comes. Well, they gonna write me up. My fire extinguisher is expired. I don't even have a fire extinguisher. Calm down. Send somebody down the street to go buy a fire extinguisher. Okay, simple as that. Because NACCAS is not going to leave until 3 or 4 o'clock. Okay, the sign. All work is performed by supervised students. I already told y'all about that. They want to see a picture of your outside sign. Take your phone, take a picture, boom. Here's the outside sign as an exhibit. That is exhibit 8.8. Look, just take a picture. We put the bookmark in there. That's simple. Number 9. This is evaluating the students, their grades, satisfactory academic progress reports. It's talking about when you evaluate them. Hey, they want to see copies of that. Let's look at some. They want to see copies of practical grades. On the practical grades, NACCAS will try to trick you. It's either right or wrong. There is no, if they don't wash their hands, -5 right here. There's no, well, they wash one hand, so I'm gonna give them 2.5 points. No, it's right or wrong. Okay, that's how you grade on the practicals, and NACCAS will ask you that. Satisfactory academic progress reports. Have a whole training on that. NACCAS wants to make sure that you do those at the proper hour mark that you have in your catalog and policies. Graduation requirements. It's in your catalog. NACCAS wants to know the graduation requirements. And the satisfactory academic progress policy in your catalog, you must do this checklist. There's a checklist right here. I've shown y'all that checklist. This is very tedious. So you got to put those numbers in your satisfactory academic progress policy. I've already shown y'all how that works. Going on down, the completed SAP evaluations. Now, that was standard 9. Standard 10, y'all. Guess what? You don't have to do standard 10 because you're not offering associate degrees. They're getting a barber, Cosmo, nails, aesthetics, massage license. All right? They're not getting no associate's degree. So guess what on standard 10? You put NA, 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 NA. And guess what? You're done. They give you 2 years to do this. I know it looked kind of easy, but this is a lot of work. Typing up everything, putting electronic bookmarks. This is an institutional self-study. This one was 212 pages. They're usually anywhere from 200 to 400 pages. I'm going to take 5 minutes and do some Q&A. So now y'all got to see an institutional self-study. A lot of consultants charge anywhere from 15 to 20,000 for these. We've gotten calls from people all over the United States. I had a consultant, they've been working on my ISS for a year. What? Yeah. All right, so let's stop this training.